Hey, friends and family, thanks for tuning in to this week's Thursday Night Thought. I absolutely love this week's message, and I can't wait to share it with you and the tips and tricks that I learned. And the reason I share these Thursday Night Thoughts is because I sit down on Sunday nights, sometimes Monday mornings, and I go through my week before and I journal about it. And then I journal about what are the messages that are coming in for the week ahead and what are the things that I need to know. And without fail, every week I am given the perfect message for moving forward. And I don't believe that it's a message just for myself, but it's a message for humanity. And we can tune into these messages at any time. So this week's message is beautiful. And the message is this: trust that life is blossoming in perfect divine timing, and that a beautiful transformation is happening now within. Close your eyes, surrender all concerns, and focus on the purity of your desire and will. The channel of light and love you are. Whew. The big word that came out in that one was surrender. And there's been a lot of energy of destruction just within our world, and the hurricanes and the destruction that we've seen in a lot of parts of our country. There's been a lot of energy around fear of money, fear of relationships. All kinds of things are going on right now on the people that I talk with. And this to me was a week of recognizing that we aren't just alone in this world, that we are all connected on some level. And when we step into a bigger game, one of the ways it was explained to me is when we say yes to God and that we have a bigger purpose and a bigger plan in this world, then it's as if we get to see the beauty of what's planned. We get to see that greater part of ourselves stepping in, feeling the worthiness, experiencing what it is, that the desires that have been placed in our heart. But to do the work is what brings it to fruition. So it's saying yes to something in faith, not knowing how it's going to come together. And this is how I've lived my life. So, and this is very much the message of my book. It's trust. And what does trust really mean? Well, when we trust, we truly surrender. And so this is what I've been experiencing this week. And these are the tools and these are the tips that I want to share with you. The first thing is when you're doing the work and you don't see how things are coming together. In other words, there might be an illusion in front of you. Maybe it doesn't look like what you want it to look like, okay? And you're doing the work anyway because you've said yes. You know this is a higher will, this is a higher desire, this is a higher purpose that you're stepping into. Then this is the beauty of trust. This is trust at its ultimate. There's darkness all around and we don't get to see. We just get to see what's in our heart and what's been placed there. So we see with a different set of eyes, and that's what we have to learn to trust when we're on this journey. And so it starts with listening to that small voice inside of those messages that are delivered to us. And then number two, when we step out to do the work, then we are involved in something bigger than ourselves. We're not just doing the work because I believe God has a plan for all of us, that we all have a part, that we all have specific gifts and talents that we're playing into. So then we start doing the work and we recognize, okay, I better shake off any ego or selfish desire or any of those kind of things that creep up when we know we're called into a bigger plan, because guess what? The way we're going to do the work is we're going to do the work together. So you step out in the calling, and all of a sudden, there's people there to support, there's opportunity. And we recognize that on a different level. Again, within the heart, we're seeing it, we're recognizing it. The third step is typically that'll bring up all of our fears, which I feel like in the last few weeks has happened. The destruction, like I said, in our country, the fears that have been placed on humanity, that we're dealing with this spiritual warfare. And as we face that, then what ends up happening is it's like we face this part of ourselves that no longer has any power. Like we see that it doesn't have the power. Only we are the ones that give it the power. So once we recognize that it has no power over us other than the power that we allow it to have, then we can step back and say, okay, I've been brought to this place in my life. I see these fears. I'm going to release them. And this is where I've come to this week. It's just this beautiful place of strength in vulnerability. And you can get to that place. It doesn't have to be weakness. It doesn't have to be victim. It doesn't have to be blame. It can be stepping into a place where you take that ownership of, I created this monster and I'm going to face it, and then surrender, knowing that it has no power over me. And that's the place where life comes into flow. That's the place where opportunities are presented. For me this week, I knew I needed to step out and share from my heart this vulnerability and ask for support. And people who had been there gave me some incredible advice. And it's advice that I wouldn't have known if I didn't reach out to my body of supporters and friends and all of you that are a part of this journey. And we're all in it together. And so I just felt like that was a very powerful week, and really just taking those three areas of aligning with a higher will, a higher desire, the purity of that. Because I do believe that lives in our hearts, but we got to trust that part of ourselves. And so I'm actually going to talk about trust and intimacy tonight in that series that I have on my professional page, the AJ Beaber professional page. If you haven't gone there and liked it yet, please do. I'm doing a series on the top 7 wounds that affect a woman's light. So intimacy and trust is a big part of that. So I invite you to head on over to my professional page and check out that video and the other videos that have been posted throughout the week, and just let me know whatever it is I can do to support you. I love sharing these messages, but I'd also love to hear how these messages affect your life, and I'd love to expand on these messages together with our gifts. So if you're getting messages, you're starting to feel things, you're getting these intuitional hits, let's share it together and expand that consciousness in this world. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to sharing our next Thursday Night Thought together.